Hey guys, it's Techianian. Today's video will be a bit different. I will go through features that no YouTubers talk about these phones. Which one is gonna be a proper camera system for photographers who would like some pro touch. Now, a good picture is not what looks good on your computer or on the phone screen or on the MacBook Pro. A good picture or a good video is which picture or video is close to reality, how your eyes see it exactly at that moment. And that's what we're going to find out, which one is capable of taking the picture the closest to reality. All right, guys. So quickly, we are going to go through the menu of the expert RAW of the Samsung versus the iPhone's RAW. So on the iPhone, you have the exposure control on the left here. And technically you can apply filter, which you can do with any phone now, but not a lot you can control there. The Samsung is a totally different game. So you can control the exposure here, which will allow the lens to get more lights or less light based on what you want the scene to be. You can control the ISO, and you can control the temperature even to bring it closer to reality. So I recreated the reality based on how my eye was seeing. This was the brightness, this was how the scene looked 90% close to reality. The iPhone, I tried. The only thing I could do was play around with the exposure, and I put it to maximum, and I took a picture because at the maximum, for some reason, it was not as exposed as the reality. So I had to put it to maximum, and I took a picture. And let me show you how they look side by side. So this is the end result, guys. So this is iPhone's exposure to maximum to bring it close to reality. It was way underexposed when it was at zero, the exposure. And this is how the expert RAW of the Samsung looks. This is the more accurate color representation and also the brightness and the scene representation. So this like a proper camera would take the picture exactly how you see on the right for the Samsung, which I recreated. Now let's go to the we're gonna see how about the regular video and photo, right? First, let me show you the video. The Samsung, this is the default setting on the video. No high bit rate, or I did not bump the exposure. So technically, as I showed in a previous video, both the photo and the video on the Samsung for some reason is underexposed. That's right, guys. Whatever you see on the screen, the actual video and the photo will be darker than that. The dark areas will get crushed. So that brings up to my fix, which I advised you guys to do in my last video. Let me go ahead give you the fix here. So here are the changes you guys have to do. Auto FPS, put it to off. If you leave it to default at night time, it can go so terrible that you might get 1 or 2 frames per second when it's super low with a super bright, unusual video frame. So put it to off right away. And next thing you're gonna do is high bitrate video. This is something as in the the previous video that you saw, it recorded very dark, it didn't look very good. This is going to change that. Next thing you do is intelligent optimization. You put it to minimum. This does not apply on the raw. This is only when you are taking photos at the in the auto. What does the maximum do? By default it comes at maximum. It's terrible, guys. The maximum is going to shift the color out of the reality what the lens is actually capturing. And not only that, it's going to induce extra sharpness where sometimes, like when you're using the front camera, it's going to over sharpen things. So put it to minimum. Do not let Samsung's intelligent optimization mess up your picture with the maximum. And next thing you do is under settings to keep exposure. Here, this one, super important. Check this option, and if you like to keep 50 and 200 megapixel option all the time without defaulting back to 12 megapixel, you put this option there. So for the photo, I put the exposure to 0.8 because of the keep the exposure setting that we enabled. It's gonna stay at 0.8. Just like I explained to you, the photo and video both are underexposed, and so if you manually set this up, you're not gonna have underexposed photos or videos. And I found 0.8 to be a universal fix for photos. You can put it to 0.52, and for videos you can put it to 0.5. It's way too muted, way too underexposed, and that's gonna fix your future photos and videos. And let me show you an example. So here is an example, guys, after the tweak, putting the high bitrate option, and also to put it to 0.5. And now in this scenario, even though the iPhone, you may think that it's looking nicer, but the Samsung is more closer to reality in this scenario. This is once I fixed the exposure and put it to 0.5. You can put it to 0.4, and it will no longer do the underexposing as you saw when I left it to default. Now the same thing goes with the photos. So this is this is with plus 0.8, 200 megapixel, and on the left we have the iPhone's 24 megapixel. So yeah, 200 megapixel is a different game. The clarity is unbelievable. It's so good. But there is something better than the 200 megapixel, which I'm gonna show you guys in a moment here. It's within the Expert RAW. Now, Samsung have a Pro Video mode, guys, similar like Expert RAW, where you can adjust the exposure, the ISO, and all those, the color temperature. But it also have a major flaw. I'm gonna show you guys in a moment. So here in this video, I'm trying to tweak to get it close to reality, what my eyes were seeing. And so at that time of the day, it got a bit brighter. It was more like noon. So I recorded the video. Watch and see what happens. So let me forward faster. So there, I'm recording it. I recorded it. And so this is what I saw on the phone screen. And look how the real video came out. Totally overexposed, and they don't even match. So let me put it side by side. So this is what I saw on the screen, and this is how the actual footage came out. So similar way, where like the regular auto photo and video, it's coming underexposed than what you see on the screen. So the adjustment was to put it to plus 0.8 for the photo and plus 0.5 exposure on the video. If you want to use the Pro Video, reduce the shutter one or two down, step down, because what I saw was what I saw on the phone screen and how it was recording did not match. The ISO was not the ISO, the shutter was taking it way higher, which on the screen I could not see. So if you have to take a quick video, unfortunately Pro Video I cannot advise that, because you might have a time where it looks very nice on the screen. Your moment that you wanted to record, it might be totally blown out, right? So if you want to use it, play around with it. Sometimes even if the shutter is too high, there is no way to know, because on the screen itself it's not showing. So that becomes a big problem. Now Use the regular video, just bump the exposure to 0.5 and leave it like that. I found it's a universal balance for daytime and nighttime. It works pretty good. Pro video, if you want to use it, what I would recommend is take a trial of few seconds, see if after the recording it's like not overexposed or underexposed, things like that, because you don't want to lose your moment, right? And once you have given a trial, if it looks okay, like in the small tiny video preview that you do, then you can go ahead and take your chance. Here is an example, guys. Next day, it wasn't the exact same color temperature. It was a bit more towards the purple, not the same color temperature as the day before, and it was snowing. I reduced the shutter speed a bit less than what I saw on the screen, and I was able to get a decent video. I would say reduce the shutter at least 2 down and leave the ISO auto if you don't want your video to be totally blown out or messed up in the if you're using the pro video. So guys, next set of pictures, it was indoor. So I recreated the reality with the expert raw, and we're gonna use that against the auto modes to see which one is close to reality. Let's say if you use only the auto, and so fast forward, yeah, so I adjusted everything there to the closest. So here it is. On the right we have the raw, the floor color is accurate, the tiles color is accurate, and this is how it looks on the iPhone's raw on the left. And it's a bit too brown, the picture shifted. Yeah, so I was able to create the reality with the expert raw on the S25 Ultra. And here it is, the 24 megapixel of the iPhone, and on the right the 200 megapixel of the S25 Ultra. Which one is close to reality? Let's bring back the raw, not that one. There we go. So which one do you guys think is closer to reality? I would say the floor, the iPhone here shifted a bit towards the red. Um, the S25 Ultra Auto was okay, but none of them were that close to reality as what you can create with the Expert Raw. That red is accurate uh, for sure, and the floor color is accurate. And a quickly, I'm gonna show you guys the video as well. So this is with the adjustment we did, the 0.5 on the exposure. And so technically on the right you have the S25 Ultra, on the left you have the iPhone. And let's bring back the Expert Raw photo to see which one is close. The video as well, the iPhone looks to be a bit more towards the worm. The S25 Ultra looks a bit towards the green, but I would say closer to reality, as you can see in the Expert Raw. Next experiment, guys, will be for the zoom test. It's not about which camera turns which picture into what. What we're looking for is, for example, here, this is a reflection, and this is accurate what you see on the screen here. Let's see if the cameras after the post processing keeps this the same. So here these are actually reflections the way I can see with my eyes. So let's see what the cameras do. So I will stand here. This is 1x, this is on 200 megapixel. 200 megapixel, when you put to 5x, it's gonna go to a 50 megapixel. It's gonna reduce the quality. It goes to the second lens. And then you have the 10x. So 50 megapixel does the same. If I go 50 megapixel, you have the 1x, you have the 5x, and you have the 10x. It can actually, that's the maximum. Only on 12 megapixel, that's when you can get beyond 10x. For example, iPhone have 25, so I'm gonna use the 30. 30 I think is similar to iPhone's 25. And then you have the 100, which will be super hard to, oh my god, it's so shaky, guys. There. All right, so once again, these areas is exactly what I see. It's not dark like this, it's like this, right? It is the exact reflection as I see in the screen. Let's see if the cameras were able to pick it up the way it is. So guys, these are the results. So first, the 1x, like no zoom basically. Now, what I found was the color accuracy, if you take a look, definitely on the right. On the left, again, it's a bit red. I don't understand why iPhone tends to shift all the colors towards the red. It's a common trend I have seen. Now, one thing iPhone did do better on this picture, I don't know if Samsung, maybe the focus couldn't focus much, but if you look into details, even though there is a bit of sharpening on the iPhone, but it looks better. The Samsung is a bit too soft here. So that's one thing I noticed. It could be also the area of focus. For example, let's say if we go here, no, this picture actually is soft. Doesn't matter where I look. So it was a softer. The picture was too soft. Now, if we look, the what we are looking for is zooms, right? So let's go to the zoom, and for sure, the 1x, the iPhone was a bit better on this one. But when it comes to zoom, this is the 5x, the first lens. The 200 megapixel, it's gonna go to a optical lens, and what you can see here, um, definitely, if you compare with the reality here, the color accuracy, the Samsung, the iPhone took this black a bit too black. It's not even black. It's supposed to be grayish like this, like dark grayish like this. It's not supposed to be black, and it's red. And not only that, the quality of the green here, much better on the S25 Ultra. And there is more problems here as well. It sharpened so much that it created this tiny dots, which it's a nylon thread, so it's just the threads threading each other. There is nothing in the middle because it's not cotton, it's a nylon like curtain. So Samsung kept it real. You see in the middle, there are no dots there, but iPhone, because of over sharpening, it created these unnecessary dots that do not exist in the real curtain. So that's over sharpened versus okay, I would say quite okay. The processing on the Samsung, this is close to reality. Now let's close both. We're gonna go to the 10x. 10x similar issue. So proper, like closer to how it's supposed to be on the right. On the Samsung, the left, over sharpened again. All these tiny dots you see in the middle of the threads, they do not exist. This is due to over sharpening it got created. And so the 30x, the 25x and the Samsung 30x, I found the zoom length is almost the same. So that's on the 12 megapixel, by the way, a third lens Samsung has, which iPhone do not. And that one, even though the right is a bit softer, but it's close to reality, how it's supposed to be. Let me play the video here. That's how it's supposed to look, versus on the left, again, over processed, over sharpened image on the left on the iPhone. So this was a tricky situation. Now 1x for sure iPhone was better on this scenario. It can change, right? But the zoom lenses, the Samsung is a better zoom lens. Now just for curiosity, the 100x is just a digital crop of the 30x, or whatever you call it. So technically, if I zoom and go there, this is just a digital crop with a little bit of processing basically, but they look very identical. So this is the 30x cropped out, and this is the 100x. In fact, I think the 30x cropped out looks a bit better. Guys, let me show you guys. I'm not a big fan of portrait on cameras. They look too artificial. The portrait for both Samsung and iPhone, whichever phone you take. So here in this portrait, you see the subject, the software do not understand what the subject is. It's not a human being, so it can't. And it's a total mess. And same goes with 2x. Same with iPhone, it fails. So if the subject is not too far away, or object is not too far away, if they're close by, you can create natural bokeh with the expert raw based on what your lens is capable of. It's not going to be as dramatic as a professional lens that has like a bigger depth of field. So, but you can still get what you want to if the subject is not too far away. So here I adjusted the color. This is the exact color. I would say like this. This is the most accurate. And with Samsung, it's easy. It shows in the green where it's focusing. So here you go. And now that is a natural blur. That is a natural bokeh effect with a natural blur. So So here on the left, the iPhone, this is on the 1x portrait. The iPhone definitely looks better. The Samsung has messed it up here. But guys, trust me, I had to play around with the angles to at least get the iPhone in focus. The Samsung, it wouldn't focus like the portrait, it would blur out. I tried different angles, it didn't work. However, I was able to get the 2x to focus properly. So this is on the auto portrait. Now, if I'm gonna close this quickly, and this is the 5x, just to show you guys some examples. So 5x, Samsung was a bit okay. iPhone was a total mess. It blurred out unnecessary regions, but both are not usable from a technical point of view. So let me show you with the expert raw what I was able to create, and let's put it beside the iPhone. So from far you may think that, oh yeah, they are close by the way, the color accuracy, the auto modes of the phones, they were not even close. It was bluish like this on the back, and look at all the area of focus and everything that I was able to create with the expert raw with the natural bokeh effect. So that's what you can do with the expert raw of the Samsung. So, so guys, I was too excited for the 200 megapixel RAW. But one thing I noticed worth mentioning is, as soon as you are on the 200 megapixel in the RAW, the lossless is disabled, and the lossless RAW is only available when you are on 24 megapixel. If you put it to 24 megapixel in the RAW, so the RAW has its own settings. Technically, it does not take the settings of the regular photo. And if you guys remember, I in the regular photo I asked you guys to put the intelligent optimization to minimum, which will stop any type of unnecessary sharpness. Unfortunately, that does not apply in the RAW. So the RAW does not take the settings of the regular settings of the camera for the regular photo and video, the auto photo and video. So let me show you how they look side by side. What is the difference? What I mean by lossless and what is lossy? So here on the left is the lossless, on the right is the 200, and you will not notice the difference till I take you to the pixel level. So where I'm gonna take you there and show you guys the difference in real time. So here, let's take a look at the same thing here. Where did my photo go? There we go. Yeah, Windows is not easy to use sometimes. Microsoft Windows. I can complain about it for 1 year straight. Okay, so here, if you see the rope details, for sure it's a 200 megapixel, but do you see all this mess, the over processing and over sharpening? And lossless, there is no sharpening. That is the difference. Now, why Samsung did not enable the lossless for the 200 megapixel, I have no clue. The 200 megapixel RAW of a lossless would be so awesome. Um, Unfortunately, yeah, that option is not even there. It would take, like, I would say 4 to 5 minutes to process a lossless 200 megapixel, which for me is fine, and I'm pretty sure you guys wouldn't mind either, right? So much details without any sharpening or all this would be so awesome to have. Now, if I compare the 200 megapixel, the regular one, um, with the intelligent optimization minimum, and let me show you how that one looks. So we're gonna go to the same we're gonna compare the same area. So the 200 megapixel, the regular mode with the intelligent optimization put to minimum is not that bad, right? It's still decent. It has a very small amount of, very small amount of sharpening when it's put to minimum. Now, for sure, from a technical point of view, your pixels are supposed to be soft, like on the left. The right is doing excellent job too, but from a technical point of view, the left is like a professional photography from a professional camera. Um, so let me quickly bring the iPhone's RAW and we compare them side by side. Now, this is how the 48 megapixel iPhone's RAW look like. What I found is the RAW is worse than the the 48 megapixel RAW of the iPhone is worse than the 24 megapixel regular photo. On in the RAW, you have all these different type of induced grains. The regular photo, however, it does some sort of software processing where it's gonna reduce all these grains or bad pixels. And bring uniformity. Let me show you an example so that you'll understand. So now we have the 24 megapixel, and the camera software has processed and reduced the grains. and you can clearly see it here. So it's not as grainy as the 48 megapixel RAW, but for sure, if you compare with the 200 megapixel, the amount of details the 200 megapixel can capture, you won't find that in the iPhone. It's a shame that the 200 megapixel RAW does not have a lossless capacity, and it's adding so much tons of sharpening. So if you use the RAW, avoid the 200 megapixel RAW, just use the 24 megapixel lossless enabled, or you use the regular 200 megapixel for the moment, till I hope Samsung enables the lossless on the 200 RAW as well. Now, Super Saf, Mr. Who is the Boss, all those famous people, Danny, I see so many bogus reviews, guys. I don't want to call it bogus, but I'll tell you, technically they're bogus. Um, I'll tell you why. So what they do is they compare the 12 megapixel. Here you see 12 megapixel. The Samsung S23, S24, S20, S21 for 5 years, the default is 12 megapixel. The reason is because if you want to upload a 200 megapixel in Facebook, Instagram, it's going to tell you straightforward, it's going to fail. It won't be able to upload a picture that big. So they put it to default to 12 megapixel. But that doesn't mean you have to use the 12 megapixel when you're capturing memory, right? So when they are saying that which one has more details, they're comparing this bad 12 megapixel you see on the left with iPhone, with Pixels, and all the different phones with the comparison they do. Now, look at the difference, guys. Look at this mess and look at this cleanliness. So they have been comparing this mess on the left with the other phones for 5 years now in a row. So their reason is because it's on default. And guess what is the default for iPhone's video? It's not 4K, it's 1080. Do they compare the 1080 video of the iPhone with 4K of the other phones that comes in default? Of course not, right? So it's more, I would say, political. So this is the terrible 12 megapixel, the lowest quality of Samsung phones. They have been comparing with the highest quality of other phones. But I'm not saying Samsung is the best, guys. There are other Android phones that can definitely beat both of these phones when it comes to photography. The last thing I want to um, talk about on the same picture, guys, is color accuracy. There are times, there are days where none of the phones in the auto mode will be able to match the accurate color. So I recreated it. The day was purplish like this. It was it was very purplish, and I created the scene with the expert raw exactly how my eyes saw. So I matched the color of the sky, the blue of the car. This is how the actual scene was at that day. And if you compare which one was close to reality, um the iPhone made it way to a different color. The right side was okay, but both of them were bluish. The iPhone made it too bluish. The Samsung, at least the car was a bit color accurate. The 200 megapixel. 12 megapixel, it would be inaccurate, more inaccurate than the 200 megapixel. The 200 megapixel is always going to be a bit better, much better, in fact, than the 12 megapixel binning mode. So both cameras have failed to recreate the reality, and that is the truth, guys. It's supposed to have been like this in the middle, the as in the raw. Now, two things you guys must understand, very important in photography. Two scenarios. So if you see that a highlight is blown out, that is irrecoverable. If you see dark areas are crashed, that is irrecoverable. What I mean by that is, with a third-party software, let's say if you later on edit, if you increase the shadow of crushed areas, you will see tons of grains and information missing. So the lens did not have enough light, or the shutter did not stay on for long enough to capture that detail. It has missed that details. That's why you will end up seeing grains and all those if you have a underexposed picture with crushed dark areas. Same goes with highlights blown out. Even if you with a software try to recover the information missing there, you won't be able to, because the lens simply could not capture that. So in conclusion, guys, even though I advise putting plus 0.8 for the picture or plus 0.5 for the video, if you ever see that highlights are getting blown out because of that, reduce it manually to whatever you need to. And if you guys want to see my tweak, how I found a quite a universal tweak for the S25 Ultra. iPhone users, you guys don't need to worry about tweak. iPhone software is way more polished than Samsung is. Samsung software is just horrible. So iPhone users, for you guys, you'll never have, like, you will have sometimes where dark areas are getting crashed, but you guys can also change exposure as well, up and down. Unfortunately, what you can't do is the RAW in the iPhone is or the manual controls are too limited. You cannot change colors and all those, or the aperture much, like the as you can do on the Samsung. So good job Apple on that. The software optimization is pretty good. Samsung, terribly sorry, Samsung users. The software is terrible, so you need manual tweak to adjust. You can watch my video, my previous video. I'm gonna put a link on the top to manually tweak it to a universal I found. And thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully it was a lot of information. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe if you want me to give you guys technical reviews like this. Also put a thumbs up and leave a comment if you have questions. Thank you. Have a good day.